past 2 days ago, I talked about mindfulness. And yesterday, I talked about the thoroughness of noticing an object. That you have to pay attention to the object precisely, carefully. Then I spoke about intention. You notice your intention, and then how you follow through. Not only just in your walking, but also in all other activities. Getting up from the seat, sitting down, opening a door, closing a door, maybe. There are a number of things that we can do. It's only that you make the effort. I also talk about you have to protect that noticing mind by checking whether your actions will be suitable for the development of the mind, for the meditation. Because some of our actions may not be necessary. It can be wholesome, but not necessary. For example, yesterday I mentioned some people like to do a lot of chanting during in the retreat time. As I said, those are wholesome practice, but it's not necessary. In fact, this type of this type of chanting, they will make the mind very restless. So we check ourselves whether we want to talk or whether we want to do certain actions. Even the tiniest action that we take it for granted in our everyday life, that we don't even think about it, we just do. But here, you have to consider whether your actions is suitable for the development of meditation or not, or it's just plain laziness, or it's just desire, or it's just a little craving at the background. So you have to check. As I said, if you check this thing again and again, you begin to realize that our deepest, more deeper type of desire starts to be seen. Then, in long-term effect, you begin to notice that when you do your meditation, a lot of all this small little desire doesn't come in anymore, or don't come in that much anymore. So when you're bored, when you're lazy, the mind doesn't think about whether to go back to do something else, to go back to the room, and so on. Now, if you not careful with these type of thoughts, they will accumulate more and more day after day until you have doubt about this meditation. When you have doubt about this meditation, you think that whether I can do, I cannot do. After that, you will start packing your bags and that's it. So it all begins from that little thoughts of yours. So we got to check all our actions. Now, when we do this type of things, that we pay attention to it precisely, all our objects when we are noticing, we notice the intention, we check our actions, we carefully notice them, whether to do or not to do. All this action, it falls under what we call clear comprehension. Alright? That's what we're going to discuss, something like that tonight. It falls under the clear comprehension. Tonight, actually, I'm going to look into another area of clear comprehension, which is when you are actually meditating, you got to choose and you got to know which is the right object to take up and which are not the right objects to take up. Yeah? Not just any object, whatever it comes, you take it up and become a vipassana meditation. No, if you just simply take up anything, then the progress won't go very far. Or you think that you go very far, but you're neither here nor there. Uh, We are making ourselves feel good only, but there's no progress at all. Now here, what are the suitable objects for this meditation? What are the suitable objects for this vipassana meditation? Yeah. Here, mentioned by the Buddha. Yeah. Your paper. Mindful Sutta. Sati Sutta. At Savatthi. Bhikkhus. A bhikkhu should dwell mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. And how bhikkhus is a bhikkhu mindful? Here bhikkhus, a bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating mind in mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regards to the world. He dwells contemplating phenomena in phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. Huh? So here, when we come into this satipatthana, this is a very summary of Satipatthana Sutta. A summary. Of course, if we want to look into a more elaborated one, then we have to look into the Satipatthana Sutta, which is found in the Majjhima Nikaya, or Digha Nikaya, the long discourses. That one is going to take you, sometimes, that one sutta, it takes me, 3 months to talk about it. 50 talks just to talk about it. How many days you have here? I don't think we can finish. We can go very detailed into it if you want to. But for the meantime, in this retreat, we don't have to go there so much. What is important here is that we must know how to exercise them. Which object that we should post to take it up. Now you see, the bhikkhu, the Buddha says, how does a bhikkhu to be mindful? How do you become mindful? So where do you put that mindfulness into? Here the Buddha says you put the mindfulness in the body. Contemplating here is not thinking, because it's very difficult word to translate. The Pali word of this body in the body or contemplation in the body, it's called kaya nupassana. The word kaya means body, but anupassana, it means anu, A-N-U, it means repeated. And the word pasana means observing, seeing. That means here is so difficult to translate that. So they use the word contemplating, which is in a way nearest. But in the actual translation, literal translation means you notice the body again and again. You get what I mean? It's not just sit there, think about it, contemplating. Body, body. Where's the body? Not like that contemplating, not thinking about it. Huh? So this is, it's the translation, as I said, is difficult. But in order for us to understand, we need to understand the actual Pali word. Anupassana means repeated observation. So too, like what you are doing here. What is the body? The body here is like when you are lifting, pushing, dropping. Where do you put it? You notice it. You notice the sensation of lifting, sensation of putting, dropping, and you do it again and again, again and again. Repetitive observation. That is what is meant here. Now the Buddha used the word again, body in the body. The word body in the body means you notice the body when it's there, not when you are thinking about it. Yeah. You notice the body in the body. That means you notice the body, you notice the sensation in the body when when it's prominent, when it's there for you to notice it. You cannot notice the body in the mind. You cannot notice the body in the hearing. You cannot notice the body in the feelings. You see what I mean? That means it has to be there. When it arises, you notice that thing. Not you think about the body. You see the word here? A lot of things are within a sentence. The deeper meaning is within a sentence. Body in the body. Later part, we can look into feelings in the feelings. So when you notice, for example, the pain, where do you notice it? For example, you notice the pain is there. It's connected to the body for this time, but you are noticing the painful sensation. Yeah? You're noticing the painful sensation. So when it arises, you notice, the pain is getting more, it's getting stronger, it's getting warmer, it's getting pulling, it's getting numbing, it's getting sawing. What is going on there? Not you sit down there thinking about the pain. Normally we don't think about the pain. The pain will come and look for you, usually. Yeah? The third one, chitta, the mind. Mind in the mind. This one is a little bit more tricky. The mind in the mind, for example, when you are noticing alertness of the mind, you notice that your mind is alert right now. You notice it as if like you are standing out, and then you notice the state of mind. And then you are noticing the mind as mind. Some people dwell, they sort of what we call dwell, but they are not really noticing. They're not really paying attention. They're not really noticing what is going on with the mind. For example, some yogis, or actually many yogis, many times I've heard this. They sit down, the mind becomes calm, become very pleasant, and then the whole mind becomes blank. Become blank. They sit there. And they can sit there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours there. They can sit there. But they are not doing satipatthana. But externally, people look at them, wow, oh, tak ting, this is excellent now. Number one yogi. I mean, it's a feat to sit for so many hours, actually. Yeah. But inside they're all empty, nothing. But they think that they are doing well. They think that they are doing good. It don't have to be empty. It just can be like calm and peaceful. So, in other words, you're not noticing the mind as mind. You're not noticing the whole thing, which we're going to look into it as the second paragraph a little bit more. Yeah. But the thing is that you see, noticing the mind is not as simple as what you think it is. Yeah. That's why in the beginning part, we try not to notice the mind that much yet. Noticing the body, the sensation of the body, or the feelings, they are more concrete, more there for you to notice, and it's easier for you to arouse that mindfulness. The mind, the changes of the mind, they can be very tricky, they can be very fast, they can able to pull you into it, and then you get lost into the memories, get lost in the thoughts, and all your emotion, feelings all go haywire. Yeah. So in the beginning part, usually we don't let the yogi go in too much of that to the mind. Stay with the body, stay with the feelings. That'll be good. Yeah. Now, the next one. Phenomena in phenomena. Well, this one also it's a very difficult to translate. The Buddha used the word Dhamma, Dhamma. But the word Dhamma, or sometimes we use the word Dharma, the Dhamma word can be many meanings. Teachings of the Buddha, Dhamma. Or sometimes in the other times, the Buddha used the word like Dhamma of other sects, other religious teaching. They use their own Dhamma and Vinaya also. So the Dhamma, if it's used in that context, that means it's their teachings. Okay? They also use the word Dhamma in other, this one. It's like the world, like everything inside the world. Dharma also. But in this context, the Dhamma here, the Dhamma here, because in the previously, this one translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. Previously, the word phenomena, he just leave the word Dhamma there. He doesn't translate. But maybe due to people keep on poking because it's a translation, maybe he changed it into phenomena. But I find that keep it the word Dhamma there. But a lot of time people mistaken that the Dhamma is the teaching of the Buddha. No, it's not the teachings of the Buddha. Here the word Dhamma that you're using as a phenomena here, it's the put it in a nutshell, it's a conditioning between the first one, second one, and the third one. The Buddha, the body, the feelings, and the mind. How they condition each other. Because under here, there will be 5 aggregates. Under the phenomena, there will be also your 5 hindrances. Under here, there will be 7 factors of enlightenment. Yeah? But why are they there? Even the 4 Noble Truths are also contemplating phenomena as phenomena. But the whole thing is not the thinking aspect. All these things can be noticed within this mind and body and how they are interacting together. For example, um, senses, hearing. Thought, you hear something. What you are supposed to do is that you notice hearing, 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 hearing. You don't bother about what the sound is. You just know that the mind is hearing in the present moment. So, when you notice in that way, you notice hearing, 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 then in a way you begin to notice the Dhamma. But here, the Dhamma here, when you begin more clearer, you begin to notice that there are some aspect or something conditioning the hearing to arise. Okay? You notice it. You notice there's something that's conditioning the hearing to arise. And then while you're paying attention to it also, the hearing process condition, let's say, thoughts to arise. And let's say, anger to arise, for example, because you hear something unpleasant. So it begins like, you begin like noticing as if like you're standing out, you're noticing cause, effect, then the effect becomes the cause, and then the effect becomes the cause, and then this cause begins to create another effect. Conditioning phenomena. You get what I mean? So even like the 7 factors of enlightenment is also a conditioned phenomenon. What you do so that this mindfulness arises. When the mindfulness arises, what happened after that? For example, yeah. So you begin to notice conditioning factors. There's no something special that you don't have. It's everything within this mind and body. Yeah? Whereas the first one, like the body, the feelings, the mind, you don't notice how we condition each other. You notice that when it's there, you notice it's there. When it's not there, you know it's not there. That's about it, Whereas conditioning factor, when it's there, you also notice something that is causing it to be there. Or something that arises causing it to disappear. Then you're noticing multiple dimension of things. So far, can you follow? Oh, Mong Cha Cha already. Oh, already. Already. Don't know where I'm talking. So far. Now, don't worry. This is again a little bit of concept. For those who are able to understand, then will understand. But sooner or later, all of you will finally have to do all these 4 foundation of mindfulness. You cannot say that I only want to do Chittanupasana. I don't want to do anything else. Then cannot. Satipatthana is that finally you have to master all of them. You have to master all the phenomena, all the objects here. Okay? So these are the actual proper object for vipassana or satipatthana. That means when it's there, when it's happened in the present moment, you pay attention to it. Because the thing is that it has to be in the present. You're alert of it. They'll use the word ardent. Ardent here, that means when you pay attention to it, ardent, that means you are making an effort. Not sitting there, drink coffee. Oh, you watch the birds pass through. I'm mindful here. I'm, yeah, this is not what the Buddha thought. But nowadays, that's a lot of people do mindfulness in that way, as they like. They walk around everywhere, take in the breeze. Oh, they stand there. Oh, the sun is so nice. I can feel the breeze. Ah, pleasant. I'm mindful here, present. Ah, 不够 lah, like that. Really not enough at all. That's not ardency. Ardency, that means you have to make the effort, especially the mental effort, and in a way, the physical effort has to come into. That means you really have to walk. You have to walk carefully, notice it carefully, pay attention to it carefully. That is ardency. You make the effort again and again. This is what the Buddha thought. Uh, uh, Clearly comprehending. That means you must be completely there and notice what is going on. The body, you notice the phenomena of the body. You notice the characteristic of that phenomena, of that object. A hard, soft, warm, cold. Then you begin to pick up the true nature of things as they are. Mindful, yes, again, present, very much in the present. And then the Buddha used the word having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. What does it mean? Here, the word is samadhi, concentration. Concentration. Now, when you have, in the Pali word, now when we use the word concentration, this is a balanced concentration. When balanced concentration will come when the mindfulness is developed. And it will come together with mindfulness. Okay? If you develop the mindfulness properly, you keep your mind in the present moment and you notice it, by default at the background, concentration goes together with it. On its own. Yeah? Now say for example you notice the lifting, pushing, dropping. And you notice it clearly for let's say for 5 or 10 minutes. During that time when you're noticing it carefully and noticing what is going on, you find that thoughts doesn't disturb you that much. The thoughts is like far away. In other words, the world is far away. You're fully there. You're immersed into that walking, truly noticing what is walking there. So the Buddha used the word having, you're not attached to the world. You're not wanting the world. You're not wanting what is out there. You're also not happy or unhappy. Everything, you just put everything aside and you're just there. So in other words, there's certain degree of concentration that is coming into your practice, which is good. So by default, it will come. So the thing is that the mindfulness is the one that is difficult to come. So you arouse that mindfulness, you keep your mind in the present, by default, the concentration will follow together. It will follow together. So you don't worry about concentration that much. You don't worry about concentration that much. As I said, you keep your mind in the present moment. Here, be mindful. It will come on its own. Now, these are the proper objects of vipassana meditation. But as a yogi, you also must know what are those objects are not suitable to. If not, you may think that what is not suitable becomes suitable. That's also a problem, isn't it? Because you cannot differentiate them. So what are not the suitable objects for vipassana meditation? Now here we put it as conceptual object. Concept. Concept means it's created by the mind. Whereas the one that we are supposed to do, supposed to take up, those are not created by the mind. Those are there when they are clear. You put your attention there, it's there. It's not created by the mind. Created by the mind, we have to look into it a little bit. Take, for example, the thinking. Okay? Take example of the thinking. You sit there, after some time, you get drifted into the thoughts. You drifted into the thought. Then suddenly you remind yourself, hey, no, I'm supposed to meditate in here. Then thoughts just, pew, it gone. And then you are here again. Rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, and then you forget again. You go into thinking. You go into thinking, that means the thinking right now, inside there, when you're inside the thoughts, that means your mind is conceptualized, creating, and you are dwell into it. So when you are dwell into it, you begin to forget. You forget about the meditation object. You are out of the meditation object. When you're out of this meditation object, that is where the Buddha used the word, the defilements, the hindrances, is waiting for you. Once you're out there and all the desire, anger, because you meditate, suddenly you see the face of your people that you hate. Then they all come out. Only you get so. But she's not there. He's not there at all. It's only you create everything out only right now. Yeah. So all this creation, but it looks so real actually. It looks so real. Even you see your husband's faces, you see your wife's faces, you see the children's faces, you see your house, you see your holiday, you see your memory, you see your future, yeah, all these things, everything are all created by the mind. Yeah? Even like hearing or seeing also. When you see someone, you see someone, let's say, you see Daisy, for example. The moment you see it, your mind already conceptualized that is Daisy, that is the person. Why is that? How you conceptualize and you put a name there? Because of the shape of the person, its features of the person. You know, the features, the hair, the shape, the height, this way, the way that she walked and everything. The moment you look, your mind already conceptualized that it's her. That's how we conceptualize things. How our mind arrange everything and put it into everything. We see a car, we see a mountain, we see a tree, we see a bird. What bird is that? Oh, it's the magpie. How do you know? Because it has that color, it has that shape. That is a magpie because it's different from a raven. That's how we differentiate a lot of things. We see a car, but what car is that? This is a sports car. This is a caravan. This is this and this is that. We differentiate it by conceptualizing it. So too, when we study and everything else, when we live in our world, we are living in a conceptual world. We are not living in the as they really are, But we have to live in a conceptual world. If not, we cannot function. But the problem is that we get attached to the conceptual world without we realizing that we are attached towards it. Until you're able to step back, to see an alternative, to see the deeper aspect that is producing all these things, all these concepts. Just like you go to a cinema, you see the whole picture of people and they're crying and they're fighting and aeroplane flying here and there. Any aeroplane there, any person there and the screen there. But it's so real that it makes you cry, it makes you laugh. Yeah. That's how our mind is like that. We project everything out. We are with that projection, we live our world, our emotions, our happiness, our anger, our hatred, our wanting, dislike, everything is all connected towards it. Without able for us to see what is behind it. So in Vipassana, instead of we dwell into this one, the Buddha teach us to notice the mind, how the mind is producing all these conceptual thoughts. Now, when we do this Vipassana meditation, say as I said, your mind is thinking, going into a lot of thinking. Then suddenly you realize that, hey, you're not supposed to think. But then the thinking is still there. The thinking is still there. But this time, somehow or another, you felt like you are coming out. You feel like you're coming out and you're noticing the process of the thinking right now. You see, noticing the process of thinking is vipassana. But when you are dwell inside the story, it's not vipassana. You see what I mean? Other words, for example, if the thoughts are keep on going, and then you step back and you notice thinking, planning, you know the process is happening in the present moment. But you are not fall into it. When you are not fall into it, then it becomes noting the mind correctly. Noting the mind correctly. So next time when you sit, if happen the thoughts pass through one after another, you take note. Thinking. If it's a planning, you note planning. Once in a while you fall into it. At least you know that you fall into it, then come out again. Come out again and notice. Until sometimes the thought starts to fade away. When it start fade away and then it's not strong, and then you notice that your mind is actually alert. You know that you are not fall into the trap. Yeah. So that is how we notice the mind. How we begin to differentiate between what is concept and what is the actual object of meditation. What is reality? We see the process that's producing the concept. So too, like for example, when you happen to sit down and your sound comes in, you notice hearing. Once in a while, you try to notice. Is the thought arises? If the thoughts arises, you're not thinking. Yeah. Or if the thoughts are unpleasant, then you're not unpleasant. If the thoughts is pleasant, which is actually more difficult to notice, because normally we just get dragged into it. If somebody were to play music here, that's it. Yeah, mindfulness will go karaoke with it. You start singing with it. So too, we got to notice if the songs are there, if the sound is there, we notice hearing. We don't care who is the singer, we just not hearing. And then if the pleasantness arises, not pleasant. This is how we notice the phenomena. We notice the objects rather than we fall into its concept. Normally, when we are out there, when the songs come in, we are already dwell into its concept. We're already liking the object. We're already liking the hearing. Yeah? Uh, while you are here, that's where you can able to train. Out there, you cannot do that. Out there, when you're out of this retreat, you cannot do like this. Uh, uh, like for example, like seeing also the same thing. When we notice seeing, then you don't worry who is it. You don't worry whether it's Daisy or whether this is what and this is a car or whether this is a thing. We don't worry if you're just not seeing. And then we keep your eyes 5 or 6 feet in front of you and we carry walking. Yeah? Out there we cannot do like that. The car is coming on the road, seeing. You cannot do that. You'll be dead. I mean, out of the retreat now. Here, it's a safe environment for you to train. Out there, we cannot do like this. Yeah. And then you sit down, then you smell smoke coming in. At home, then you're just not smelling. The whole house is burning up, smelling. You cannot do that. You know. Here is different. Here is, as I said, this is a safe environment for us to train the mind. So use this time to train the mind. So here is that you must learn to differentiate what is right object and what is not the right object. So this is all conceptual object. Don't dwell into the thoughts. If you dwell in the thoughts, you are already out. The mindfulness is normally it will go out. For vipassana practice, but take it on to another note, on another thing. But mindfulness, when you talk about its general aspect, not on the vipassana, mindfulness can take whether it's an object which is a real object or is a conceptual object also, On another note, But on vipassana, we must direct the mindfulness to go on to its right objects. Yeah. You see, mindfulness, let's say you want to develop metta meditation, samatha meditation. We are using conceptual objects. We are using, like, for example, may you be well and happy. May all beings be well and happy. May all the animals here be well and happy. We are thinking about it. At the same time, we arouse that loving kindness or the metta towards the people or the beings. But behind it is mindfulness too. Mindfulness needs to be there in order for the mind to be wholesome. So mindfulness, when you have mindfulness, the mind is wholesome. So in other words, you must use this mindfulness for the vipassana practice. Therefore, you must learn how to take up which object to take up, which object is suitable, and which are not suitable objects. You can, for example, when they go into meditation, when they go into this samatha meditation, they have like, that 32 parts of the body. Head, hair, body, hair, nail, teeth, skin, There are this type of meditation. How do you imagine head, hair? Then you imagine head, hair. How is the hair is like? What's the color, the length, and so on. Head, hair. Then with that, you arouse the mindfulness and the concentration coming in. You see? You're using some degree of imagination, creation of the mind. But at that point of time, the mindfulness is taking a conceptual object. Then you can develop further. You can develop, but not the way of vipassana. The way of vipassana is that the mindfulness has to be use it for on the object which is in the present moment, the body, the feelings, the mind, the dhamma objects. Then only vipassana can go. Yeah? Nowadays, of course, mindfulness is being used, is being applied to all aspect of life, right? If you're an athlete also right now, they use mindfulness to keep them concentrate so that they can able to run faster, they can jump higher, they can do this better, and so on. And sometimes in the work environment, in corporate environment also, the sometimes the bosses or the CEO, they hire personal trainer. They got physical personal trainer and mental personal trainer too. And the mental one, they train them in the mindfulness thing, so that they can able to concentrate on their object, on their work, so that they not get distracted by other things. Mindfulness is being applied there. If you got no job, next time you finish the retreat, you can apply one. Open up a business. They will pay for you. Not, no, it's a good job actually. They pay quite high, huh? We learn here free. You want certificate? I can sign for you. You see, nowadays mindfulness is being taken up in so many areas. Now, when you finish your retreat next time, we acknowledge that mindfulness is being everywhere. And all this mindfulness is being taken from the Buddhism, actually. But the things that when they take it out, then they minus the Buddhism, it becomes secular. Everybody also can do. So, it becomes like that. But the thing is that here, in the Vipassana practice, we want to practice this Vipassana, then you must learn which other object to take up. Next paragraph, the next one. And how bhikkhus does a bhikkhu exercise clear comprehension? Here, bhikkhus. For a bhikkhu, feelings are understood as they arise, understood as they remain present, understood as they pass away. Thoughts are understood as they arise, understood as they remain present, understood as they pass away. Perceptions are understood as they arise, understood as they remain present, understood as they pass away. It is in this way that a bhikkhu exercises clear comprehension. Because a bhikkhu should dwell mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. Mindful and clear comprehending. Sati sampajanya. The word sampajanya. The word sampajanya, again here, clear comprehension is what we are doing right now. To put it in a nutshell, you notice your object carefully. Here, the Buddha only used thoughts, perception, and feelings, thoughts, and perception. But in other suttas, there's also including body too. Including body, including all the 5 aggregates actually. This one, according to the sutta here, because this group of people that the Buddha is talking to, they are they are very high practitioner. A lot have to do with the mind, to do with this one. So, in order to get them to enlighten, the Buddha give this instruction to them. Yeah? But in other places, including body too. Yeah? So you see, here the use the word feelings as are understood as they arise, understood as they remain present, understood as they pass away. Now the understood here does not mean again thinking and you understand something. No, this is not that. The word understood here means that you are fully immersed and observing the object as they arises, as they remain, or as they pass away. So, in other words, those objects, that feeling, say this time the feeling is the pain. The pain there, the pain remains, the pain pass away. So all these things has to be in the present moment, right? It has to be in the present moment, and at the same time, you are scrutinizing, observing the object carefully. How is the object is like? How is the pain is like? That's what we call clearly comprehending. You are noticing it, how it comes and how it goes. Now, if you were to read this sutta without practicing, without doing vipassana, or without people to guide you, do you think you can do that? You don't even know what is talking about the Buddha. Yeah. And we just read it through. Oh, I know the sutta, I know the sutta. But then we do not know how to practice at all. Yeah. This is what you are doing over here. Moment after moment that you pay attention to your object. As it arises, you notice it. But here, although it reads that as they arise, as they present, as they pass away, not all the time you see all these three. Sometimes you see this arising, sometimes you only see the middle, sometimes you only see the end. Sometimes you see beginning and middle. Sometimes you don't see the end. The nature of vipassana, it will show you when you are ready for it. When you are not ready for it, it won't show you everything. And it will slowly and slowly it will unfold itself. Like you're reading a mystery novel. Sooner or later, you know who is doing this is what, and then slowly unfold. So in vipassana meditation, also the same thing. All of us have all these things within us. It will slowly unfold itself for you to see. If the mindfulness is strong, the mindfulness is continuous, if you are really carefully noticing everything. Yeah. 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 So it has to be done in this way. It has to be noticed in this way. So in other words, when you practice there, you have to be notice it carefully. One of the thing concerning with these thoughts, or whether concerning with this perception or feelings, one of it, for example, yogis make mistake when it comes to the state of mind. Take for example, the mind is peaceful and calm. Now the word peacefulness, calm, they are actually a proper object, a right object, because it happened in the present moment. But most of the time when the peacefulness come in, they are not clearly comprehending it. They are just sit there, let it be calm, calm, nice, pleasant, sit there. You're not scrutinizing the calmness. You're not seeing how the calmness arising, how it changes, what happened to the calmness. You just sit there. And then they say, oh, I'm doing vipassana, I'm doing vipassana. You're not doing vipassana, you're just sitting there with calmness only. sooner or later, if the mind is not scrutinizing that object, that calmness become slowly and slowly, it just calm. Mindfulness will start to go away. The next thing is that the craving will start coming in, and you don't realize that the craving is just behind it, and then you delight into it. The next sitting, what do you want? You want the pain, ah? You don't want the pain, you want the calmness again. Where is my calmness? Where is my peacefulness? You sit there again. Calm again. Then you get delight into it. Then you get delight. Again and again after 10 years, 20 years. Then you look, how come so many years? It's just calm only. What am I achieving? Then you realize that there's something wrong. I've met people like that. Yeah. Some of you may not have 10 years, 20 years. you know, some of you do not have that long. So don't make this mistake. A lot of times, people forget to be clearly comprehending. Mindfulness, you have to arouse it. Clear comprehension, you have to arouse it. You arouse that mindfulness doesn't mean you arouse the clear comprehension yet. But clear comprehension cannot arise if mindfulness does not come. So you have to be carefully noticing all your objects. And you know which other object is suitable, which other object is not suitable. When you practice, then you are inside in the vipassana practice. Yeah? Yeah. If you do it wrongly, you think that just by being calm and pleasant and nice, that's what happened, with the back one. I'm not going to talk about it now, What is the cause and reason why the true Dhamma does not endure long after the Tathagata has attained final Nibbana? What is the cause and reason why the true Dhamma endure long after the Tathagata has attained final Nibbana? Final Nibbana, in a common word, is the Buddha passed on. But it's no more rebirth. How does the sasana grow longer? The right sasana, if that the yogis practice the four foundation of mindfulness correctly. If not, sooner or later, all kinds of wrong teachings will be inserted into Buddhism. Everything. Whether you are Mahayana or whether you are Theravada, Buddhism is not really in the books. Finally, Buddhism, you have to really look into yourself with clarity and mindfulness to see that whether the books are correct or not. You got to see it for yourself. Only you can you can check for yourself after some degree of practice. But this one is just for you to read. I'm not going to go through everything else, because to me is that after all, actually I just wanted to go through the first sutta, but since behind it is a blank page, might as well print something into it. No, why waste the paper? So for y'all to read, and in the suttas, there are many types of sutta. It's connected to Satipatthana. Many places, of course, we cannot fit all in, but just to give you a rough idea, why Satipatthana is being practiced, why is it that when it's practiced correctly, what is the resultant of it, and so on. So clear comprehension here. To notice things thoroughly, notice it carefully, pay attention to it, notice your intention, noticing whether your action is suitable or not suitable, and also check on your object of your meditation, whether this is conceptual object or is it like happening right now, whether it is the body object, feelings object, mind, or a Dhamma or phenomena here. Okay, so we stop here for tonight. We'll continue tomorrow. Yes.
So what object are suitable and what object are not suitable? Can you give one example? Suitable and not suitable?
Rising, falling is suitable. Lifting, pushing, dropping is suitable. Thinking is not suitable. Looking here and there is not suitable. Listening is not suitable. Listening things is not suitable. Other words, now here sometimes we do not know which one is suitable or not suitable. To play safe, let's say, to play safe, come back to the body, sensation of the body. Then that is safe. You go into the mind, you do not know, hey, this is concept or this is real. You go into hearing, this is concept or this is real. So that's why in the beginning part, as I say, you put all this aside, come back to the body, come back to your lifting, pushing, dropping, come back to your rising and falling, come back to your sensation, come back to your feelings. Then it's easier for you to know that what is suitable. You go into the thoughts, you go into the thing, you know that it's already out of it already. Okay? Hey, yes, yes.
So what's the difference between the mindfulness and clear comprehension?
Mindfulness is present, highly alert in the present. Clear comprehension is that you notice it carefully in the present. Because mindfulness not necessary precision of noticing. Yeah, there's two different things. But when we are practicing it, it combines into one. For example, when you are doing one face walking meditation, are you precise? You're not so precise. You're just right step, left step. But when you're doing lifting, pushing, dropping, you notice it thoroughly. You notice it more carefully. That is where mindfulness comes in and clear comprehension coming in. Okay? Oh yeah. Well, last question. Yes. Cannot go back. Don't worry, just be mindful. Just keep your mind in the present moment. The mindfulness will do its job by default. By default. Later, another time we can talk about that a little bit more. But in the meantime, make sure that you're mindful. You do not know how you're going to balance it, but somehow you will balance it. Okay? Okay, the next thing. Tomorrow we start off with the interview. The interview list is, I gave it to Daisy. I think one is here somewhere. I think where? The wall there. The man, you go and check that. I think there's also another one in the dining hall also. I gave two. And yeah, tomorrow is going to be cold. It's going to drop into 40s. And then by weekend, it's going to go into 30. So just be careful, yeah? Now it's humid. All right, so we share merits right now. Yeah?